Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Exploring Tampa Bay Commercial Real Estate. I'm Jay Wittner.
And I'm Rachael Manzanares.
We typically put out one or two shows each month focused on real estate activities in the local area on the commercial side. And today we're going to be talking about transactions that happened in October of 2020. So Rachel, why don't you start us off?
Wonderful. So this first slide here is going to cover P&G and Floriday's development called Sage on Longboat Key. So this is a 16-unit building on 3 acres, and the prices are going to range from $4 to $8 million in this project. All the units are 4 bedrooms, 4.5 baths, and they're going to range from 3,900 to 4,100 square feet, so fairly large residences. This project was designed by Hoyt Architects. They're also out of Sarasota. We've worked with them before. They do a great job. Beautiful image here. So they're really selling sophisticated luxury on the beach here. This is one of Florida's most affluent communities. Sarasota is really a growing area right now. We're seeing a lot of people from New York, Chicago migrate down, and this project is going to bring a lot of them. So again, this is located about 15 minutes from downtown Sarasota, right off Gulf of Mexico Drive. Jay?
Thank you. So here we have an apartment complex that just sold, and get ready because there's a lot of these selling right now, so you have several of these to talk to you about. This particular one is in Pinellas Park, sold for $66 million. As you can see from the image, it's very attractive looking with some waterfront elements there to it. This was sold by the NPR Group, and it's called Allure At Gateway. There's 274 units in this complex, and it's almost brand new. This opened like a year ago. So the sales price works out to $241,000 per unit, and we're seeing a lot of variability in the price per unit, I guess mostly based on the age, but also the amenities and other things. The buyer of this was General Services Corporation of Virginia. And lots of cool amenities as you'd expect in a brand new competitive complex. They've got a fitness center, conference room, social lounge. Apartments have definitely moved up in the world since I had one. And this is located at 8851 US Highway 19 North, and it's 15 minutes from St. Petersburg.
Perfect.
Rachel, go ahead and go to the next one.
All right, so as Jay mentioned, we're going to talk about a lot of apartment complexes during our show today. This is Tampa Palm Avenue Apartments. So this sold for $14.7 million, 369 units in this complex. So this works out to about 40,000 units, $40,000 per unit. So again, varying prices on each one of these complexes. This facility consists of 46 buildings and was built in the mid-70s. The seller for this was TLR Group, and the buyer was Cold Town Properties. TLR assumed an existing Fannie Mae loan to take on this property. So this is located about 15 minutes from downtown Tampa, right off 30th Street, very near the Yuengling Brewing Company. Jay?
Okay, next we have more apartments. So this is an apartment complex up in Feather Sounds. This is a northern St. Pete. This one sold for $49 million, called Ashford at Feather Sound. And this one has 288 units, so this one works out to $170,000 a piece. And a nice tranquil lakeside setting kind of a thing going on there, which is pretty. The facility is 22 buildings on 21 acres. And it's a fairly luxurious complex for the age. This was built in 1985. And this was sold by Radco, and the buyer was American Landmark. And as we often see when these things change hands, it gets a new name. So the tenants now are living at Fairways at Feather Sound.
Which is great because it's right near a golf course.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes sense.
So this is 13621 Feather Sound Circle East. And this is a pretty good location, 15 minutes from downtown St. Pete, so it's convenient for everybody.
Quick to everywhere.
Next.
Awesome. So next we're going to talk about a lease that happened. This is Heritage Insurance, and they leased an 8-story office building in Tampa's West Shore area. This is about 89,000 square feet of space, so big lease. So essentially Heritage is moving their headquarters from Clearwater. Their current staff is about 600 people. So they're going to take an equity stake in this building, and the current owners are Ally Capital. These buildings were built in the 1970s. And again, this is located in Tampa's West Shore district, so 1401 North West Shore Boulevard. All right, Jay, this is a good one.
Yes, I'm familiar with this one. This is the Wittner Center on Central Avenue in St. Petersburg. This was developed by my uncle Ted Wittner back in the 80s.
That's so neat.
And it's a 2-building complex, and the transaction was one of the 2 buildings was sold for $4.5 million. And the seller was Anchor Property and Casualty Insurance, and they still own the other half of the project. They still own the 2-story building out there.
Gotcha.
And the buyer was Katz Capital Management. So the 4-story building on the left there is about 33,000 square feet. And the other half, the 2-story building on the right, it's a similar size. It's just, a longer building that's half the height.
Gotcha.
The sales price comes to $136 a foot, which I think is quite respectable for a building of that age, built back in the 80s. And this is at 5999 Central Avenue in St. Pete. So easy to find and roughly 10 minutes from downtown St. Pete. So it's still a very desirable location for people's businesses.
For sure.
Rachel?
Awesome. Next, we're going to look at a strip center in Clearwater. So this is a 16,500 square foot strip center in Clearwater. This sold for $5 million. One of the main anchor tenants here is Chase Bank. So the seller was Mayoff Clearwater and Daphne Clearwater, and the buyer was Clearwater Town Center. Again, some great anchor tenants. You see a Jimmy John's on the other corner here. Sale price again for this was $5 million, and this was financed by Valley National Bank, who's doing a lot of business in this area right now. This is located at the intersection of South Fort Harrison and Turner Street. Jay?
Okay. Here we have a property that KW Commercial was involved in. This was the Wittner Woolman team. John Wittner and Jake Woolman were working on this deal with Hutton Development, and they together created this location for Grain and Berry. And there were some interesting approval hurdles due to the age of the former building that was on the site.
Tons of them.
It was the old hotel with the multicolored doors. What was the name of that one?
Holiday Motel.
Holiday Motel. So there were some questions of whether it was historic enough or needed to be protected and so forth. So there's a lot of hoops to jump through.
It was a process for sure.
So anyway, Grain and Berry is coming to St. Pete. And the overall center here is about 12,000 square feet on just under an acre. So this deal was for $3.25 million just for the property that the Grain and Berry is on. And they focus on healthy food without any additives in it. So they're growing, and they have a pretty good footprint already. As you can see, they got 10 locations in the greater Tampa Bay area. This is going to be their first one in the whole St. Pete Pinellas area. I don't know, is Palm Harbor still Pinellas, or is that too north to be Pinellas?
I think it's too north, yeah.
So I guess it's the first one in Pinellas in addition to being the first one in St. Pete. And so they got 3 opening very soon. This is just one of them that we're talking about, the St. Pete one, but they have a couple other ones too coming.
Exciting.
And it's going to be at 4th Street North and 24th Avenue. That's where that image was that we showed to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Jay. All right, the next slide here we're going to talk about is the Skyway Mall. So this is located in St. Pete's Skyway Marina District, South St. Pete, right before you go over the Skyway Bridge. And this mall was bought by the Allied Group Holdings. They bought this for $5.7 million, and this is going to be replaced by an upscale senior living facility. So what do we got here? So the high-end senior living facility will be developed to an 8-story building. This will contain 154 units. The seller was Maximo Plaza and John Mary Enterprises, and the buyer again is Allied Group Holdings. So this site is located on 34th Street South, again in the Skyway Marina District in South St. Pete. Jay?
Next we have a huge industrial transaction.
Yeah.
$272 million.
That is crazy.
So this is it's a package of properties, and so this is McCraney Property and Northwest Mutual are the sellers of this parcel, or this grouping, the portfolio, I should say, of properties. So it's 6 warehouses all together.
Gotcha.
For the $272 million. And the reason we're talking about is 4 of the 6 properties are located locally here in Central Florida.
Right.
So the 6 warehouses total about 3.5 million square feet altogether, and the 4 ones in our neighborhood total about 2 million square feet. And the total transaction comes to roughly $78 a foot, because industrial usually runs a little bit less than, than other things, just because it's easier to build in most cases. So we already talked that the sellers were McCraney Property Northwestern. The buyer was Nuveen Global Investments, was who bought this. And the locations are, one of them is in Plant City, 2 of them are in Davenport, and 1 of them is in Lake Mary. And the 2 that are not in our area, there was 1 in Georgia and 1 in North Carolina.
Awesome. Well, that's our show for you today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on Exploring Commercial Real Estate Tampa Bay. Again, I'm Rachael Manzanares. This is Jay Wittner. We do this show a couple times a month, so make sure you subscribe to our channel and find out all you can about commercial real estate in Tampa Bay. We hope to see you next time.
Have a great day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.